they met in Algiers, they married, and they had 5 kids. So we were all born in Algeria. The civil war started in 1954. So basically, my first 8 years, my childhood was in a country at war.
I grew up right after the Iranian Revolution, and we had the Iraq-Iran war, which is basically was 8 years of. I was 2 when it started, and I was 10 when it ended.
My parents were German. My father was Jewish. My mother was not. My father was from a very small wine-producing village.
Graduated from the law school in 1978, passed the bar, and practiced law for 10 years, mostly on my own, and until 1988. And then during that time was involved in the family business, and then decided to go into the rabbinate.
I went to Princeton for college, which is where I met my husband. I was the first woman to set foot in a men's boat on the crew team.
I was essentially born, and my parents were like, you are going to a top-tier university.
And then after a few years, I was really wanted also visit America. I said, well, there's something about that land that is always mysterious for me. I really want to go and see how does it look like, and what the people look like, and what what is this that everybody talks about it.
I was an English major, which was terrific. I mean, the classes and the education I got were great. I only wish that I didn't have to take so many pre-med courses, the chemistry, the physics. I enjoyed those, but I would have liked to do more of the English major.
My goal coming to Dartmouth was to become the most educated I could about the world.
I was either going to be a lawyer, a pastor, or a psychologist.
You know, have you ever heard of imposter syndrome, where you get to a certain station of life and you're convinced that you're a complete imposter, and it's only a matter of time before people discover that you're really actually not qualified at all to be doing what you're doing? So I have that in a big way. I think part of it is from being female as well as Asian.
There's a target to eliminate TB in the world by 2035. We have the only vaccine of the 14 that are being studied around the world that's already been shown effective in humans.
I was struggling a lot with the paper. I think until I went to the Women's March, and that kind of like reinvigorated me.
It's, I think it's the idea for me that what do I need to do to live with myself? And I have gone down to the State House in Concord and testified, at hearings about gun legislation. And so I get so angry about this, and I just try to put my thoughts into a letter.
I'm going to India in a couple of weeks, and the Indian government would like to use our vaccine in a big trial.
Whenever I am able to do any kind of present a paper or something, any kind of international travel, I try to jump at that opportunity just so I can go to different places.
And I also noticed that people were critiquing his work. And I thought to myself, boy, I think he was a really good lawyer. And if I thought he was a good lawyer, he's being critiqued after his death. And just kind of life moves on, which it does. I mean, I get that. What's going to be my legacy? Like, what's going to be the meaning of my life?
Spot where we could get on our bicycles and ride around and be out all day. Mother wouldn't ask where you are, and you had to be back by dinner time, but that was basically it. So we could roam around in the woods and build forts and do whatever.
I love the smell of the land there, the palm trees, the fresh almonds, the pomegranates. We would go in the train, get the pomegranate, open and eat them.
So my father lost his family. His parents were killed. His sister and her husband were killed. My mother was one of 12, and but they were 3 of them died before I was born, and they were all in Germany. And her parents were in Germany, so we had some cousins, but really not. There wasn't a lot of family.
I got married at 23. I had a baby at 25, and it was like I thought the moment was that the spotlight was falling on me, but being a mom means that you are standing in the wings clapping while the spotlight falls on someone else, and you've willingly made that decision.
My boyfriend said, if I had the money, I would marry you. And I said, well, I'm not ready to get married, but I would consider staying here. So I stayed, I got a job, got a place to live, and then we got married.
And I used to sit there and dream about going out grocery shopping or going to drop my husband's shirts off in the cleaner, and I would just open the car window and I would throw the shirts out one by one, and I would keep going, and I would go to a beach in Mexico and live in a hut, and this was going on in my head as I'm pushing a stroller. And one day I was walking with another mom, and I told her this fantasy, and she was like, oh my God, I think about that all the time.
And then when it snows a lot, like it has recently, I like the way it takes on a kind of, I was thinking that, Dr. Seuss went to Dartmouth. And I think when you look at Dr. Seuss books and the trees have a certain look, I think he got that from snow in Hanover, like the way the trees are weighed down by so much snow and they take on this kind of bulbous look. It kind of reminds me of what you see in Dr. Seuss books.
I love the seasons here. It's such a, I see the extreme. Imagine when the falls come. The falls come. It's with everything that you know about or read about the fall, the leaves, the rains, the smell, and everything is about fall with all beauty and.
Because I went to grad school for 9 years in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I just remember that winter was always gray and that all of the snow was dirty. All the snow was gray. There wasn't any white snow. So I really if it has to be winter and if winter has to last as long as it does, I like the fact that it's really beautiful.
I had to replace and resolder Arduino boards that had fried on my physics arcade game. I had to solder new wires onto the motors to make the cars on my console run.
They said that my mind was racing way too fast for my mouth. My mouth couldn't keep up with the explosion of thoughts that I was having. Kind of like an ADHD, but they didn't call it that back. They didn't have drugs in those days to really deal with that, and so I had to learn how to speak.
So I stood up to share because my partner had been sick the past week, and they told me to sit down and ask Mason what he did in the week.
But my dream was to be a dancer. I think that war in Algeria, I don't know if it's related to that, but my imagination, I wanted to be in a circus. I saw a circus when I was 4 or 5 in Algiers, and I saw a young girl and her father doing acrobacy, in the tent of the circus up, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to fly. I want to dream.
Well, I think it's contemplative for me. I think it's thought-provoking, it's emotional. I love all the skill and artistry that's gone into the creation of, say, an opera or a symphony. When you think about the composer initially, then the orchestra, the conductor, the interpretation.
I don't like exercise, but I love working with the body. For me, is my instrument. It's like a musical instrument, and I like to take care of my body, but not to a point of it's just because I have to be in shape. I don't like those notions. So I go back to the pleasure. What makes me happy? When I move.
It's frightening to love. It's frightening to give your heart to another human being.
To be able to not only like the person that you're with still, but to want to keep surprising them, I think is really awesome.
My husband had cancer, pancreatic cancer, and toward the end of his life, he died at home. I did things that I never thought I could do before for another human being. And he had said to me, I don't want to be a burden. Well, when you love someone, they're not a burden. I think it's tricky to give other people advice.
I think that you need three things to advance your career. One is the education.
This too shall pass. Whatever happens, it passes eventually. And my advice is don't take anything too seriously.
The other thing is the experience.
There's an expression in Judaism: you save one life, you save an entire world. And they're not talking about, somebody's having a heart attack. They're talking about helping someone when they could be in trouble, or they could be having difficulties in life, to be there for your friends, to be there for people that you care and love about.
And the third thing is the passion about that, what you're doing, like love. And that's the love comes in the place that, do I really enjoy these things?
I think my advice would be, don't let anything or anybody stop you from following, what attracts you, what pulls you, what's drawing you.
I hope, despite of all this stress and competition and unknown, you find some joy in your life.
It's a cliche, but it's whatever snaps your socks.
Find something that when you wake up in the morning, you can't wait to do.
I think there's nothing more wonderful, really, than being heard. We want to be heard. And I think most people want to connect